Hey, how you doing? I'm Jack.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming in. So, Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I always have sort of a tough time with this question, but um, I think I'm somebody who really appreciates hard work and teamwork and collaborating with others. I think those are some qualities that I kind of embody. Um, I think just in general, I'm a fairly outgoing person um, with a good sense of humor. Um, and I like to use those things to my advantage in the workplace.
So, outgoing, good sense of humor, some of some pretty big communication skills. What are some times you've used those to handle a tough situation?
Well, for instance, I was playing on a college football team the last 2 years, and obviously, like, there's some big personalities on a college football team, and sometimes it's tough to manage those. So, I think it was really important to use those communication and leadership skills that I learned to sort of diffuse conflict and situations like that just sort of naturally arise.
What are some areas that you think you need to work on?
I think organization is something I need to work on. It's not so much time management that is an issue for me. It's just sort of organizing my workload and being able to prioritize things in order of importance.
Um, why do you want a job in sales? Why do you want to be in sales?
I like that there's um, goals and incentivized milestones to reach, and there's sort of this competitive nature. I've been playing sports all my life, and I think that it's going to be tough not having a competitive outlet moving forward, moving on from that world. So I think having something where I can wake up every day and look forward to competing and just going out there and giving it my best is just something that's sort of unique to sales in a way.
So, why are you choosing this company out of all the other sales companies you could be interviewing with?
Well, I think that it's a good cause, and I like that there's some philanthropic values that the company has. I know that there's a lot of volunteer days and experiences that you guys have that contribute towards the workplace culture. I think those are really important things, and also there's just this sort of something greater than just selling medical devices. It's you're actually helping somebody to get back on the field faster, to get back to work faster, and giving them the best possible tools to do that.
I'm going to give you 5 words, and I want you to personally rank them by the importance they mean to you. Commitment, salary, teamwork, time management, and then tenacity.
Okay, you mind if I write those down real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So it was commitment,
Commitment,
salary,
yep,
was it teamwork?
teamwork, time management, and
Okay.
then tenacity.
Tenacity. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I'm gonna go 1 commitment, 2 teamwork, 3 tenacity, 4 time management, and 5 salary. 1 being the most important, 5 being the least, right?
Yes. Why did you choose that, Frank? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I think without being all in and 100% committed, none of the rest of it really matters. So that's why that had to go number 1 for me. 2 is teamwork. I think that it's really important to develop those bonds as a unit with the team so we can make the most sales possible and generate the most revenue for the company. I think that it's sort of imperative when you're looking to do that. And then 3, I said tenacity. I think that's just kind of sort of an umbrella term for commitment and working hard and bringing in your best every day. I know I mentioned that earlier, and just bringing that drive and that energy every single day that's gonna make this team work, this unit go. And then 4, I said time management. I think that's just kind of there by default. I think it is very important, and putting that at number 4 by no means takes away from that, but it's just sort of necessary. Time management is going to be important for me moving forward, in terms of just prioritizing myself, my daily schedule, and getting done when I need to get done. I think it's very important. It just fell to number 4 kind of by default. And 5, I said salary. I think if you get 1 through 4 done and to the best of your ability, then the salary comes with it. So, I mean, obviously it's important to have money to live comfortably, but I think it's just it's going to come as a package deal, so to speak, with the rest of the terms.
Tell us about a time when you failed, and what did you learn from that?
That's a good question. I'm just going to take 1 minute to think about that.
Okay.
I think one time where I failed, where I was pretty disappointed, was, I got I got a pretty bad grade on an assignment that I worked really hard on for an event marketing class, and we were just putting together this big event, and I just didn't, I just came up short. I worked really hard on it, but I just didn't meet the criteria that the professor was looking for, and it was a tough feeling because I had to, obviously work really hard to keep my grade back up for the rest of the semester. But what I learned from that is that sometimes, these things happen, and even though I felt like I worked really hard, that didn't really matter in the end because the criteria, like I said, wasn't met to the teacher's standards, to the professor's standards. So it's just, something I had to come back from and talk to the professor and see what I could have done better, excuse me, to learn from that and grow. And I ended up getting a good grade in the class because I put in that extra effort, excuse me once again, putting in that extra effort and, just really working hard and kind of just taking that lump as something, as more of a lesson as opposed to, just getting all down in the dumps about it.
In addition to the commissions, just what kind of base salary are you seeking?
That's a good question. Like I said before, with these terms, the salary will come with, with the hard work and the commitment, etc. I think, this job location is Boston. So honestly, as long as I can live comfortably in the greater Boston area and get to work on time every day and not have to worry too much about, traffic and things like that, then, I'm very flexible on salary. As long as I can live, comfortably and modestly, and I really don't have a specific number.
If someone on your team isn't pulling his or her weight, how would you handle it?
Well, that's another thing, and I hate to keep using this metaphor, but that's another thing that I learned from football. We had, like I said earlier, the big personalities, and there was I'll give you an example. There was a kid on my team in my position group that he wasn't pulling his weight, and he was a really, really talented kid, and it was just a shame to see. And my coaches specifically I don't think they really knew how to relate to him. So I think their methods of trying to get through to him weren't working. So, I took it upon myself and, some of the other senior leaders on the team to, pull him aside and say, like, what's going on, dude? Like, how can we help you transition into college football and Plymouth State in general? Like, how can we help you? Because it would be a real shame if his talent ended up going to waste over, something kind of trivial. So I think that translates pretty well into, the working world, just getting together with the teammates and sitting down and just kind of addressing these things. Like, what can we do to help, and how can we keep this from happening again?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I've always had a tough time with this question too. 5 years, I'm not really looking too far in the future. I know what I do know though is that if I am fortunate enough to accept this position, then I'm just gonna give it my best. Like I said earlier, bring tenacity and commitment every day, and I don't want to plan to be somewhere else in the next 5 years because obviously it's good to have goals, but I think it's more important just to focus on the present moment and just do as best as I possibly can in this position here.
How would you handle it if your boss was wrong about something?
Well, I guess it depends sort of on the magnitude of the issue. Um, but if there was something seriously wrong and my boss was wrong about it, I think I'd probably want to just like pull him or her aside and I wouldn't want it to come across as I was going over their head or undermining them in any sort of way, but just having a serious conversation and working through that problem. I think that's part of being on a team, and it's part of being a good teammate. Just because somebody is above you in the hierarchy, I don't think that necessarily means that they should be allowed to be wrong about something. If of course, depending on how serious it is.
I think that's pretty much all we have. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I do.